Everybody. Welcome back to the business grind. So, the next section that we're going to discuss in this chapter, due diligence on yourself, is be patient with the results but aggressive in execution. Again, it's important that you understand yourself, and this is another one of those things that are part of understanding yourself. You know, so be patient with results but aggressive in execution. And Mike begins to talk about patience is one of the fundamental keys of success in any startup. People have to be patient with the ramp up process. Um, Patience is making sure you are sticking to your knitting, as they say, knowing that it is going to work in the end, doing the right things day in and day out, knowing the results will show up. So a lot of people are not patient. Like they you know they believe that they open a business and all of a sudden they're raking in the dough right away. And if you're one of those people, congratulations. You're kind of unique and you hit the jackpot. But most likely that's not what's gonna happen all the time. And so what happens is a impatience breeds disappointment. So what people begin to do as they don't see you know, their expectations being met, they begin to cut corners. And so the first thing that Mike talks about is don't cut corners. And so the first thing that you probably need to think about is realistic expectations. When you start a business, if you set yourself for the expectation, then in a few months I'm going to be sitting on my back porch and run the business from there. Especially if it's a hands-on type of business, like our business is operating stores, and you're just going to sit back and kind of let somebody else run it. That's probably unrealistic. And if you figure out a way to do it, congratulations, but that's pretty rare. So um, you are kind of in for a slow struggle, and so be patient because it will get better. And that's what Mike is kind of making the point here. Um, and so a lot of times the impatience that comes is really because of lack of cash. Lack of cash, maybe the business is not generating enough sales because many different reasons, including that you just started it and people are just finding out that you're there in that location, and they're working on trying to make it a habit of them coming to your business versus maybe their first time. What I've learned is the first time they'll come in and they'll just discover you're there, and it'll take them a while to kind of pass by again, and that's why you got to keep on marketing to them to remind you that you're here and get them to come back again and again and again. It takes people, I believe, around 21 days to make something a habit. um, I'll kind of make a point here. I believe from what I've seen, when I do a big promotional day and I get an unusual amount of people to come in, I'll just give an example. 900 people came in one day because I did a free ice cream, right? Day or something. Um, what I'll find out is that to me, that's kind of the potential of my store. 900 people a day is an example. Uh, the next day I'll go back to, let's say, 100, 200 people a day. Um, but that 900 will kind of give me a goal to shoot for because I realize there's 900 people in here that sampled my ice cream. There's 900 people around here that potentially come to my store. They now know I'm here. Now I just need to work at bringing those people back into my store so they become that regular 200, 300 people per day. And so I've learned that many times, that big peak that you got once, with time, if you're patient, you can. That's what you're gonna get to eventually. That's like the power of your store. Whatever. Let's close the parentheses there. The point is that it takes patience. It's not gonna happen overnight, and so if you begin to get impatient, typically what people do, they start cutting out dollars, right? Because that's really the issue here. You're not generating enough sales, so you start to cut in advertising. And so, what happens when you start cutting in advertising? Obviously, eventually, people are not going to come to your store anymore. They're not going to hear about it. You're not gonna be able to, get to that full potential of the store. And so, you're kind of breeding a different problem. And so it's causing, instead of helping with the cash flow down the road and sort of getting to a good situation faster, it's going to get worse. Another thing people do is they start to cut down on labor. They cut down on labor, and so what happens is now their service begins to suffer, which maybe for the short term you're saving some money, but eventually people are going to get that feeling that they're not getting a great service. They're going to go somewhere else. Instead of growing your business, now you're going to shrink it. It's going to ruin. And so, um, Mike makes a point that one of the most extreme examples of cutting corners was somebody that said, in my store, I'm going to allocate 10 cans of whipped cream per day, and when you run out of that, I'm not buying anymore for that day. You're gonna have to make do with that, and I'm gonna put a lock on my fridge. And so that was his way of trying to control the inventory costs. So their employees would have to figure out how to make do with that whipped cream, and I think that's extreme, obviously, because they're gonna run out at one point or another. Some customers are not going to be very happy. They're going to go on social media or tell their friends what just happened, and they're not going to care that you're trying to save money. So that's pretty extreme. So what the solution to all of that is, as Mike points it out, obviously over years and years of experience in this, is you can't cut corners. Somehow the solution to this is getting more money, and that's not easy to do, but somehow you got to figure out, how do I get more money and continue the process as it's meant to be, to continue to have the right amount of people on the line, continue to advertise as you did. And so support those programs as you would, make the store run efficiently and like it's meant to be run, because eventually the system will run itself out. It's proven itself, and it will bring you the results that you want, but you got to be patient. You can't just cut corners. Find a way to get more money to support the store to run normally. If you can't do that, then probably the best thing is, as he puts it at the end of the book, is to just, cut your losses, lick your wounds and go do something else. But don't torture yourself by cutting all these corners, and eventually it's going to run your business completely into the ground, and it's not going to get you anywhere. Try to figure out how to get money to fund the store so it runs like it's supposed to run, without cutting corners, without cutting marketing dollars, without crucial marketing. Now, I'm not saying you can't prioritize or maybe figure out a more efficient way to do things, but when you completely go to these extreme measures to cut corners and cut labor, that's going to completely have the opposite effect on your store. And so don't be the whipped cream guy, uh, because it's only going to make it worse for you and your customers, and you're probably going to lose everything you put in. So the solution is not easy, but perhaps get more money somehow, somewhere, borrow, and I think eventually you'll get to the point where you can pay it back. But definitely, cutting corners is not the solution. The customers will see it, your employees will see it, and it's just going to be a bad situation. But like I said, in my experience, that peak one day that you did this promotion is sort of the power of your store, and eventually you will get there. It may be not at exactly at that peak, but close to that peak. But that you will get there if you stick to your guns and just continue to operate the highest level and the most efficient way possible, the way the store is supposed to be run. So, as an example, if your store is meant to be run with 4 people because you have a drive-through, you have an in-house POS, point of sale, and then 2 people that kind of produce the products, and you try to run it in, let's say 2 people, just kind of one person running around trying to run both cash register while the other one is producing making the products, whatever they are, and in our case, let's say it's ice cream. The customers are going to see it. They're going to wait long in line. Instead of you be able to really greet them and really honor them for being there, coming to your store, they're going to get frustrated and going to go somewhere else. And it's just a matter of time before it's going to happen. Yeah, they're going to be nice the first time, the second time, but eventually, if they're they're there with their friends and they're getting a bad experience every time, or let's say they're on their way to work and they want to just stop in and get a coffee and you're kind of holding them up, they're going to get frustrated and they're going to come back. If you're cutting marketing dollars, instead of growing that pool of people that you just impress with that huge campaign, perhaps they're gonna come back a second time and they're gonna have that experience anymore, and they're like, oh, that was just a fluke, or that doesn't taste right because they didn't make it right this time, and they're just running around trying to get products out because they don't have enough people. People will notice that. People will notice though, however, when you're taking your time and you have good customer service and you're attentive when they walk in the door, you're attentive when they walk out the door, they will know and they'll remember that. When you say, you greet them, they will definitely remember that and they will come back. And that's how you slowly build a business. And it will get you to where you need to go. So that would be kind of the end of this section.